All right, so I have my my new Akrapovic tie exhaust, and this is my Termignoni tie exhaust. And really, the only part that's actually tie in these two is the skin of the can. That's tie. The skin of the can is tie. The headers are not tie. The headers is stainless steel, stainless. This one here is a 321 stainless, and it says right here 321. Over here as well, it says 321. So I know this is a 321 stainless. This one, I don't know, because they actually finished it enough where you couldn't see any of the numbers. Well, this one, obviously it's less finished. So basically, the Termignoni is actually better finished than the Akrapovic is. So I think I've weighted these things already in my other videos, so I'm not gonna do the weight, but I'm gonna do a comparison between the two. All right. I think I made a video on the construction of the Akrapovic, and I believe I mentioned that the chamber here, it goes through with the DB killer. It goes through, then it opens up into this whole piece right. So basically, there's a tube that ends about right here, then it opens up into this whole cavity, right? And over here at this end, there's a tube. So this cavity, once it opens up into the cavity, then it goes back into the end of the tube right here, and that tube goes down this way, and it goes through the DB killer over here. So if you take out the DB killer here, it goes through this. Once it opens up, it just shoots straight up. All right. In the Termignoni, it just goes straight through, and that's it. The DB killer is up right here, so it hits the DB killer. When it goes through into the can, it opens up right here, and it hits the DB killer. That will actually kind of slow it back down again. Then it goes out. All right. Actually, I think this end, actually the DB killer goes in pretty deep. If you look over here, you actually see that end right here. Oops. See the end right there? That's part of the DB killer right there. So so the DB killer goes all the way in here. So basically, how it goes is it goes into the can, and the outside of the can, right? Then from there, since the DB killer is this full length, it's basically another tube inside the can, basically. Then it goes into that, then it shoots out. Let's compare the headers, and the reason why stainless is used, and even though they say tie, they meant tie cans, not tie headers. The reason for that is because titanium does not hold up against heat very well. The thing with titanium is once you pass 800 degrees of the tie, the titanium will absolutely absorb the elements in the air, basically, oxygen and all that stuff in the air. It absorbs into titanium, and it will compromise titanium, and it'll change the chemical compound of the titanium. And basically, once that happens, the titanium actually becomes very brittle. That's why that's one of the reasons why welding titanium is very difficult, is because you cannot have any type of contamination whatsoever, and as long as a tie is above 800 degrees, it will get contaminated. Elements in the air will just absorb into the titanium. So that's why steel is used, because header pipes, especially closer to where the engine comes out, up here, it's easily 1,000 degrees up here, or it can get 1,000 degrees, or even hotter. You see videos where people are like doing burnouts and stuff, and you see the pipe glowing red and stuff. Steel, when it starts to glow, it's around 1,200 degrees, and it's about, it's a very dull red glow. As it gets hotter, it gets brighter and brighter and lighter. So when you see those pipes, they're glowing really bright, a really light color orange, you're up there like at 1,800 degrees, so that's real hot. There's no way tie could handle that. It just can't. That's why, headers are made out of stainless. And why this right here shows 321 is because 321 holds up against heat very well. So not all stainless could hold up against heat. Usually, most stainless, when it gets up to say 1,000 degrees, if it's not a high heat stainless, gets up to 1,000 degrees, it also becomes vulnerable to corrosion and oxidation. But the stainless that can hold up to high heat, 321 being one of them. At 1,000 degrees or more, it can still hold up against corrosion and oxidation. So that's why that's used. All right. So that's your little drop of knowledge between the stuff. So now let's actually do the real comparison between these two. I'm just gonna do some dimensional measurements, measuring the cans here. Obviously, the one that actually really matters is the output of the end of the headers. So I'm gonna get my Mitutoyo. I never quite pronounce it right. Mitutoyo calipers. This is the digital one. And sorry for the folks that are, you know, in Europe and such, and everywhere else outside of America. You guys are on the metric system, so I'm not gonna use millimeters. I'm using inches. So, you know, because here in America, we use inches. All right, so zeroed out. Let's look at the Akrapovic. Let's see the measurement on that one first. This is, you know, calipers are not the best thing to measure ID of a cylinder. You know, there are tools that does that. That's meant to do that much better. All right, so from this angle here, we're looking at 2.473 inches. 27337. Yeah, let's call it 2473. 2473. 2.473. Let's try from this angle, because this might not be perfectly concentric, right? Oh, look at that, it's not concentric. This angle is actually bigger. This is 2.495. 2.495. 2495. What was this again? 247. So it's off. So it's slightly elongated. So it's not perfectly round. 24 something. Let's look at this one. This one is 267. 2685. 2686. Try this angle. 2655. So this one's not concentric either, which is fine. As long as they slip into each other. But anyways, the Termignoni it's you know, it's bigger. It's bigger than the Akrapovic. Let's see. Let's measure the inside diameter of the actual header itself. Actually, I'm not gonna be able to do that because looking at the header here, there's that bead that they run it, right? They have that bead, and that bead's gonna throw my dimensions off, unless the inside of the ID of this piece here, this flange piece here, is the same as the ID of the pipe, which I actually don't know. It's not the same, because this pipe slips into this, so it's not the same. I don't think there's a step either. There could be, this thing could be made where there's a step, meaning this end down here, the ID is smaller than this end up here, so that way this pipe could slip into this, and with that step it will stop. But I don't know if that's the case or not. Let me see if I could just feel the difference. No, it doesn't have that. So this thing is all the way through, straight all the way through. So basically, just they put it in and they just stopped and they welded it. So I'm not gonna be able to measure that. So that's kind of unfortunate. That's kind of too bad. What I could do instead is measure the OD of the pipe. So I'm gonna measure right here. This is a straight spot, so it should be pretty consistent. So this is measuring, let's see, this is measuring 1.4785. 14785. 14785. Let's try this direction. 149, 147, 149. Let's try the Termignoni on this end. Put this up. It's too much. Excuse me, not the Termignoni. The first one was the Termignoni. This is the Akrapovic. This is 1.5, so it's a little bigger. OD is bigger. 1.5, 1.55. All right, 1.5. 1.516, 1.7. So anyways, 1.51, close enough. Let's look at this end. So that you guys can see this pipe over here. It's a different pipe, so theoretically they should use all the same pipe, but who knows. Well, this one's 1.5 exactly. There you go, 1.5. So this is probably a 1.5, 1.5 inch OD pipe. 1.5 inch OD, I think. Yeah, that's what I think this is. This pipe here is 1.5 OD. I wonder what the thickness is. It's probably a 20 gauge, maybe as thick as 18. If it's the same thickness as here, as the overlap joint here, that looks like it's, I'm not sure if that's 18 or 20 gauge. It's kind of hard to tell. You know, I don't normally look at 18 or 20 gauge very often. I usually look at 16 gauge or 24 or 22 gauge. So anyway, so we know this pipe here is the Akrapovic is a 1.5 ID. Oh, excuse me, OD. And the Termignoni is probably probably about, pretty close as well. It's pretty much close to 1.5 as well. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna call it 1.5 as well. That's close enough, I think. Actually, let's look at the metric on that. Maybe, both of these are from Eastern Europe. Actually, no, this is Italy, so Southern Europe, and Akrapovic is Eastern Europe, Slovenia. So let's see if they're using metric pipe numbers or not. If it's metric pipe numbers, it should be pretty even too. 37.54, 56, 54. Here's 38.1. So that doesn't sound like metric numbers. I think it's I think these are meant as inches. So 1.5 inch basically. OD, whatever the ID is. So yeah. Feeling the weight of this just by hand. Oh yeah, the Akrapovic is definitely lighter than the Termignoni. Yeah, definitely lighter. I could definitely feel that weight difference. I mean, you look at the two pipes side by side. Looking at two pipes side by side. One of the things that makes this one lighter is the brackets here. It's thinner and it's stamped. It's been stamped to give it some dimension, 3 dimensions, so that way it's nice and rigid. Whereas the Termignoni is just a solid plate that's been neither water jet cut or that doesn't look like water jet. That looks more like maybe laser cut, or it's definitely not plasma, unless they did some finishing work on it. It looks, as far as how clean it looks more like water jet or laser. But anyway, so this thing is a thick plate, right? Thick plate, so there's some weight there. There's going to be weight here because down here this is actually a little bit more complicated. Let's look at how they put these two together. On the end here, on the end is where the collectors are, right? So they're both 3 into 1, 3 into 1, right? This way. both 3-into-1. Maybe it's a little more visible that way. Yeah. Okay. I think that's a little bit more visible. So they're both 3-into-1, right? Both 3-into-1. Man, it's still, it's kind of hard to see. It's better like this. It's better like that. Okay, I think that's better. Alright, so that's better. So they're both 3-into-1. Difference is that this right here is the 3 separate things that you actually take off. So each one of them have their own spring that holds them in, separate springs, into the collector. And from there, the collectors, you know, the 3 separate pieces is all welded into one piece here. This one's a little bit more, seems like there's a little bit more work done with this one. Because you have the individual 3 pieces welded to this big outside piece here. But inside, you know, there's another piece here as well. Actually, you know what? This piece here is a part of this. So there's this lip right here. This lip right here is actually a separate ring. So this here and this is the same piece, one piece. This right here, they slipped this on and they welded it. So this is what holds against the muffler when it, you know, the can slipped into this. And on the so that's the Termignoni, and the Akrapovic. It's basically let's see, let's look at how this one's done. So you have the individual pipes here. The individual pipe feeds into this piece here. This piece is where this piece is actually kind of complicated. This piece here, this piece here is three separate pieces as well. That's been all welded together. It's been all welded together. You guys see that? So it's been all welded together. Then it goes into this piece. I think part of the reason why this is a little bit lighter than this here is that it seems like this one's a little bit more compact here, less material, possibly. Possibly the length here might be shorter too, but it's kind of hard to tell. No, I'm gonna say no. Actually, you know what? The length is shorter. I put the two together with a header. Where the header lines up with each other. Here they go about 4 inches extra material. So 4 inches extra material right there. That adds some weight, right? Also, this thing has all the springs on here as well. All the springs that adds weight. This one there is no spring. This one there's only 2 springs. 2 springs are here. And this spring attaches to the can. So this one here, 3 separate springs for each header. Then also another spring. 1 spring to attach to the can. Let's see what else on this thing. So other thing is that the Akrapovic, like similar to the stock, they have the connector pipes. The Termignoni has no connector pipes. It's just, you know, they're all individual. So what that does with performance, I have no idea. Pretty much they're all more or less the same. I don't think there's much of a difference actually. Yeah. So obviously the header here is lighter than this header, but looking over at the cans, look at the cans. The Termignoni can is actually lighter than that. Whoa, it's a considerable weight, definitely a noticeable weight difference. Not slightly noticeable, like way noticeable. Yeah, way noticeable difference in weight. There's a bigger noticeable difference between these two than there is between these two. These two, there's noticeable, but it's not as noticeable as the other. So and you know, you guys can look up look up and see what each company says how much their exhaust weighs. But if you look at my other videos, you see that I weighted the Termignoni, and I also weighted the Akrapovic, and you guys can see that using the same scale, so that way you know that it's consistent, because one company weighing using their scale and this company using their scale, the scales are not calibrated the same, and etc., so there's differences. Whereas my scale, since I'm using the same scale, it's that's that consistency, that repeatability. Let's see what else. I think that's it. Not much more to add besides that. Again, oh, let's actually look at the exhaust header shape. So the shape here, if you look at this, how it comes, how it attaches, it has this very close to 90-degree angle right here. So it comes down, right? It comes down, and it's like this 90-degree angle here. The more of an angle the pipe turns, the more restricted it is, right? Oh, this thing is not even, man, for the price they should have made this thing, they should have manual bented it, but it's not. It's not manual bented. That sucks. That really sucks. Let's see, the Termignoni, no, same thing. Termignoni is not manual bented either. So you can feel the, when it's not manual bent, where it's bent, you can actually feel the diameter actually shrinking down on the inside right here. Gets smaller because it has to bend on the dies. The dies are on the outside. Manual bent, you have a die inside and outside, so that way the diameter stays consistent through the whole bend. So it's not manual bent. I'm surprised, considering that it's $1,000. This one more than this one is. And this is made in Italy. This is made in Slovenia. I would think that Italy would be more expensive as a country as a whole than Slovenia is. So I don't know. I think that's part of it. The markup is just the name, not necessarily the quality of it. Because both of these, they're right on par of each other. I think I heard before some people were saying that the Akrapovic is high quality than the Termignoni is. Having the two side by side, I'd say they're both equally as nice. They're both very high quality, very nicely made. Actually, the Termignoni, I think, has better welds. It has better welds, much more consistent. Looking at these welds here, much more consistent, very nice. Akrapovic, not as consistent, not as nice. Same with this right here, not as consistent, not as nice. Termignoni, very consistent, very nice. Right here it's not as consistent, not as nice. I think this joint here is a little bit more complicated. Over here, pretty nice. These ones look. I'm almost gonna say these things are. This one's autogenous right here. This part right here is autogenous weld. I believe this is as well. Maybe not. This one is not autogenous. I can feel the filler metal. But looking at it, it looks like it's done really fast. So it's kind of hard to tell if this was actually done by TIG welding or by MIG welding. Looking at the contour and the shape of the bead, it looks like it's MIG welded. But it doesn't have the buildup that MIG welding usually have. Usually when you MIG weld it, has a big buildup. So it could have been TIG welded, just done really fast, really fast. I can't TIG weld like this. I can't go that fast. My TIG welds are more like this. My TIG welds are more slower, and you can see the individual bead, the individual puddle. This is nicer here, very nice, very nice. This one, okay. So yeah, quality wise, I'm gonna say they're both pretty much more or less on par with each other. I do like the fact that this is all bolted on, right? And you have your bracket that's also bolted on. Where here you're using the old strap on the can. I'm not a big fan of that. This is where I like the Akrapovic better, because this can right here is pretty much universal. You know, Termignoni uses this for mostly the same can for other bikes as well. It's basically the only difference, I think, is probably just the length. Maybe some other cans might be a little bit longer and shorter, but the shape going around, I think they're all the same. You know, the only difference is the length, and maybe, you know, they have separate elbows for different cans, you know, for you know, different angles and such. So this one is a little bit more universal, so maybe that's why they're able to reduce the cost. Whereas this one here, this one is pretty much specific to, you know, only the Yamaha crossplane 3, what they call it, 3CP engines. So the XSR900, the FZ09, you know, FZ-MT09, and the FJ09, or what they call them in Europe. What do they call it in Europe? Is it the Tracer? No. Anyway, whatever it's called in Europe, you know, the FJ version, you know, same engine, so same exhaust. So basically only 3 models. And as far as I know, they don't make this particular can for, you know, I mean, there's a possibility that you could configure the outlet and inlet, and maybe this bracket's slightly different for other bikes, but as far as I know, I haven't really seen that for the particular this shape anyways. So that could be why it costs a little bit more. Let's see what else. This is going on pretty long. Yeah, so this right here, this carbon fiber cap in here, this is becoming a trend. I'm not a big fan of it. I would rather have all metal than a carbon fiber cap. So the new Akrapovic triple tie, this is a 2016 model. The 2017 model, they changed this so that it also has a carbon fiber cap as well, and it's actually like $100 or so more expensive. And I actually like this one better. I actually like the look of this one better. This one has a sweet, that's just a sweet 3, you know, tri outlet. You know, kind of goes with the triple engine, right? So so that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm kind of stoked about that. Oh, this is a nice beat to here. This is much nicer. But then, you know, this right here is easier to do than this or this. This is the hardest one to do, even though this is a butt. It's probably a butt joint, but you know, it's a round butt joint is harder than a relatively flat, straight lap joint. And this one is also a round lap joint, so this one's even harder. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. Okay, that's about it. Oh, actually, I do have something to mention. So here's my catalytic converter. This is for the Termignoni. I bought this for the Termignoni. So it goes in like that, I believe. Or it slips in this way. So this is the diffuser. So the exhaust gas hits this, kind of diffuse it out a little bit before it hits the cat. I think if it goes straight into the cat like that, it might be kind of too much for the cat. Maybe too hot. Potentially that's especially on a motorcycle, you know, because you're revving higher and such than say a car. But anyways, I also ordered a cat for the Akrapovic too. That's actually coming from Europe, so it's not gonna be here for, I don't know, another week or so. So both of these exhausts, they both claim that you could just plug and play on the bike, and it's pretty much true. But that's true if you're running the DB killer and also running a cap, because you know, stock exhaust, there's a lot of, you know, it's pretty restricted. It's or more restricted, so there's a lot of back pressure there. So if you take the DB killer off, or you don't have a cat, you have less back pressure, and the tune's different, and also it runs worse than with a stock exhaust. But actually, when I put the Termignoni on with the cat and the DB killer that's in here, and that DB killer, right, it still ran worse than stock exhaust, because I think this I still think this flows a little better than the stock exhaust. And I think the main reason for that is the header. I believe the header is it's a little bit smaller on the stock exhaust, so that's where the main restriction is the header and not the can itself. Yeah, so I can't wait to get my cap, so that way I could put my new exhaust on, and I'm gonna do a sound comparison, and using the same basically the same camera, so that way you could I'm using an iPhone here, my iPhone, so that way you guys could hear the same conditions, same equipment, so that way I'm trying to repeat everything. That way there's not if you use a different camera, different microphone, also the sound's different, blah blah blah. Even though it's the exact same exhaust, it'll still sound different. So I'm trying to make everything consistent. Yeah. All right. So thanks for watching. Wow, over 30 minutes already. All right, that's it.